すごい揺れてる。うわ、すごい。あ、人が。
Pause. What's going on? And why is the building dancing like that? Let's ask Jasper Tan to explain it for us.
Hey there, Jasper here. So, what we are seeing in this video is actually a building from Japan while an earthquake is happening. Japan is part of the Pacific Ring of Fire, meaning it is very vulnerable to earthquakes. And because of that, their structures, such as their buildings, towers, and houses, etc., should be built very sturdy so that it can last through during and after an earthquake. That's all from me. Back to you, Mrs. Robot.
Thanks for the explanation. It's a little disappointing that the building wasn't being ticklish. Now that we know why it was moving, why does an earthquake happen in the first place?
Excellent question, Mrs. Robot. So, why do earthquakes happen? Why? Why does it move? Why does it dance? Why does it get ticklish or whatever? Just wiggles right there. You think that it's actually just a piece of wood just wiggling in place. But no, it's just tectonic plates. You don't know what tectonic plates are? I'll explain it to you, don't worry, in an easy way. So, tectonic plates are pieces of the Earth's crust and uppermost mantle, together referred to as the lithosphere. So these plates are considered as slabs of like land all around the Earth, essentially. 20 plates to be exact. 16 to 20 they said, but 20 plates, much easier to understand. And those plates, they have two types. One is the oceanic crust, and the other is the continental crust. The plates move at a slow pace most of the time. They just move slowly. They just move. They just move slowly. And it changes every time. Like, we don't even notice it. It's probably moving right at this second. But we don't notice it.
Now that we know why earthquakes happen, how did we figure it out in the first place?
So, how did we find out about the continental plates? Well, it's part of the continental drift theory proposed by Alfred Wegener. Back in his time, he was thought to have been spouting nonsense. But it's now being taught to schools and has a significant impact on how the plates move. Continental drift describes one of the earliest ways geologists thought continents move over time, appearing to be drifted across the ocean bed. It explains how the continents shift position on the Earth's surface and why look-alike animals, plant fossils, and similar rock formations are found on different continents. It is a phenomenon which explains how the Earth's continents move on the surface of the ocean bed. This shows that there's evidences, that proves this theory, because some of fossil similar animals are found on various continents, which suggests that they were joined. The complementary arrangement of the facing sides on Africa and South America is also another evidence which supports the idea of the continental drift. So this theory insinuates that we were once a puzzle. We were a puzzle. The slabs are called a puzzle. Can be called a puzzle metaphorically, but it was a complete puzzle. It was a complete puzzle. And then slowly but surely, we were separated because of the plates constantly moving every time. We were separated slowly. 230 million years ago, we were called Pangaea, a supercontinent meant all Earth. But then somewhere along that line, we became separated because maybe a big earthquake happened, and we were now split into Laurasia and Gondwana. And then some other time, since the plates kept constantly moving, we became our modern world, our world now. So this theory explains or shows that the tectonic plates always move over time, or all the time, constantly moves. Right now it moves. So yeah, it moves. Thank you for having me. Thank you, bye.
Thank you for the lengthy explanation, Teresa Abdium. Now that we know about the continental drift theory, let's know about the life of Alfred Wegener.
Who is Alfred Wegener? Alfred Wegener proposed the theory of continental drift, the idea of Earth's continents move. despite publishing a large body of compelling fossils and rock evidence for his theory between 1912 and 1929. It was rejected by most other scientists. It was only in the 1960s that continental drift was finally became part of mainstream science. Alfred Wegener was born on November 1, 1880, in Germany's capital city, Berlin. His father, Richard Wegener, was a classical languages teacher and a pastor. His mother, Anna Wegener, was a housewife. The Wegener family of 2 adults and 5 children, Alfred was the youngest, was well off financially. Alfred was an intelligent boy. He received a conventional education at grammar school in Berlin, where his academic ability marked him for a university education. He began university in Berlin in 1899 at the age of 18, taking a variety of science classes. He specialized in astronomy, meteorology, and in physics. In 1902, he began a PhD degree in astronomy. He spent a year at Berlin's famous Urania Observatory, whose purpose and still is to bring astronomy to the public. Alfred Wegener completed his PhD in 1905 at the age of 24. Although now qualified to become a professional astronomer, he was worried that he might not discover anything new or interesting in astronomy. He believed that he could make a greater contribution in meteorology, the study of weather and climate.
Thank you for the information, Jana Hilaria. Now that we know why earthquakes happen, we should learn to prepare for them. Because simply knowing why it happens is not enough to increase our chances of surviving in real life. Right now, we can't do much to stop it from happening, even if we already have an idea on why it happens. But what we can do is prepare for when it does. Let's have Aaron Bettingen tell us of what we should do to prepare for an earthquake.
Earthquake is a disaster that we would need to prepare for. Being prepared for this kind of disaster would mean survival or death to people and destruction for places and things. I will be discussing the things to do before, during, and after an earthquake. What to do before an earthquake? First, make sure you have a fire extinguisher, first aid kit, a battery-powered radio, a flashlight, and extra batteries at home. These things are important in case of fire, injuries of the family, and power interruption occur. Learn first aid. It is important that we apply first aid to injuries, trauma, and other critical medical conditions. Learn how to turn off gas, water, and electricity. This is crucial in preventing fire, explosions, water spill, and electric shock that is brought by the earthquake. Make a plan of where to meet your family after an earthquake. This should be an open area away from the buildings and structures that may collapse during the earthquake. Learn the earthquake plan at your school or workplace. Next up is what to do during an earthquake. You need to stay calm. If you're indoors, stay inside. If you're outdoors, stay outside. It is important to not move in one place to another to avoid being stuck in a hazardous area. If you're outdoors, stay in the open, away from the power lines or anything that might fall. If you're indoors, stand against a wall near the center of the building, stand in a doorway, or crawl under heavy furnitures. Stay away from windows and outside doors. Don't use matches, candles, or any flame. Broken gas lines and fire don't mix. If you're in a car, stop the car and stay inside the car until the earthquake stops. And last but not least, what to do after an earthquake. First thing is check yourself and others for injuries. Stay away from damaged areas. If you're at school or work, follow the emergency plan or the instruction of the person in charge to avoid getting hurt. Check water, gas, and electric lines for damage. If any are damaged, shut off the bulbs. Check for the smell of gas. If you smell it, open all the window and doors. Leave immediately and report it to the authorities. Turn on the radio. Don't use the phone unless it is an emergency. Stay out of damaged buildings and areas. Stay away from beaches. Tsunamis sometimes hit after the ground has stopped shaking.
Thank you for the lengthy information on what we should do to prepare for an earthquake. Always remember to prepare for disasters that are gonna make a big impact in our life. The most basic form of preparation we should have against earthquakes is keeping a hard hat and learning how to duck, cover and hold. Here we have John Orezo showing us how to perform the duck, cover and hold, and Daniel Prigelano to voice it.
This is how to duck without a hard hat. This is how to duck with a hard hat. This is how to take a cover. Hold your positions until the shaking stops.
Thank you for watching our video. That is all for now. Stay safe.
In the year of 1910 there was a scientist whose name was Alfred Wegener. He noticed that the continents looked just like pieces of a broken puzzle. By 1915 he called it continental drift. It caused a rift with his fellow scientists who sang, ha ha, Alfred Wegener, you are a crazy man. Alfred Wegener, you are a crazy little man. They reminded him he had no proof for how or why the continents could do this. And until you show just how or why, you merely have one interesting hypothesis. Until this evidence we see, you don't have a theory.